Now, the 24-hour countdown has begun. Naturally, you can see a small icon labeled Hot Topic in the upper right corner of my screen. And when you visit a particular old coin or just cryptocurrency on CoinMarketCap, this is what's being discussed quite a bit in the community. Additionally, XRP ETF will have its NASDAQ debut tomorrow. How significant might the market's response be? In other words, the major update regarding this ETF will essentially take place tomorrow. I don't think the price will skyrocket. I'm just going to tell you everything the truth. For example, I don't think XRP will reach $3, $4, or $5 like everyone else has been yelling. Just a favorable market response is all I'm focusing on here. All I want to see is a development on this chart where we begin to form bullish structure once more. Although I'm not hoping for a wild surge or anything, I do believe that this ETF will be significant because it will be the first genuine 100% spot-based ETF. And I noticed that many people were quite perplexed by that, asking, well, what about the Rex Ospreys ETF? We'll also talk about the fact that it's not a 100% spot-weighted ETF. Beyond that, though, the chart appears to be in fine shape. All I'm anticipating is that it might touch this trend line once more, close nicely on the official level, and then begin to rise. However, I also hope to see a closing over $2.65 on the weekly. That's the main objective here. I therefore don't give the price chart much thought till that occurs. I know that a lot of people have been saying lately, look, XRP is pumping. I go check the chart, and sure enough, it looks great on the 4-hour chart because you have this big move to the upside, even though technically it's not that big of a move. However, I won't get too excited until we break these levels. Unless you are trading on a shorter time frame, or if you are using leverage, it is between $2.24 and around $2.57. Yes. However, the primary focus of this analysis is zooming out and concluding that it is not a significant move on this chart. We still have a lot of work to do in relation to XRP on this chart, but it would be quite bullish if the ECF could take us above some of these important levels to end the week. Above. Beyond that, though, let's actually discuss a few topics. I want to start off by discussing the recent developments surrounding the Clarity Act. Alright, this is from David Sachs. A bipartisan draft of market structure legislation has been made public by the Senate AG Committee. We appreciate the leadership of Senator E. Booker and Chairman John Boozman. We have taken a significant step toward establishing the regulatory clarity required to establish the United States as the global center of cryptocurrency. We'll talk about the video that was connected to this in a moment. However, I also want to quickly quote Bitwise's Matt Hogan. Bitwise is the CIO, and I believe that the market is underestimating the likelihood that market structural legislation will be successful because, once more, I do believe that this might be fully passed. For example, by the end of the first quarter of 2026, I would suggest. It goes without saying that I would really like to have this resolved by the end of the year. However, this is likely to go on a while longer. I am aware that many individuals were expressing similar sentiments to January. Although I would argue that we should expect this to be entirely resolved by the first quarter, it is certainly a possibility. Of course, the Financial Services GOP is also represented here from French Hill on Mornings with Maria. In September and October, we achieved advancements in the market framework for digital assets. The Senate is currently working hard on the Clarity Act, which we passed in July with 78 Democrats in the House. They're making great strides, and I'm hoping we can wrap that up in the next few days. The shutdown has harmed it. Therefore, I'm excited to collaborate with them to cross the floor and reach President Trump's desk. Take a look. Simply amazing. We're hoping that Congress will be able to tackle the Clarity Act, the long-awaited crypto market regulation law. When the government reopens this week, bipartisan discussions are allegedly starting up again in the Senate. Since a reopening is undoubtedly beneficial for both financial services and cryptocurrency, Mr. Chairman, what can you tell us? A national defense authorization measure is currently pending in Congress, and it aims to prepare for the economic harm caused by the absence of international legislation under the Biden administration, and the Biden enforcement of the Chinese soybean deal and ag bill is required. Another justification for opening to Congress is that you're correct. In September and October, we made strides in the market framework for digital assets. The Clarity Act, which we passed in July with 78 Democrats in the House, is currently the focus of intense Senate work by both Republicans and Democrats on the Senate Agriculture and Banking Committees. They're making great strides, and I'm hoping we can draw that conclusion in the days ahead. I'm excited to work with them to get it across the floor and to President Trump's desk, since the shutdown has hurt it. All right, indeed, we are eagerly awaiting this since it will have a really beneficial impact for cryptocurrency in general and utility-based projects in particular, which have been, I would say, paving the way for widespread adoption. Additionally, I believe that this will be excellent for the space as a whole. Apart from that, though, let's return to ETFs because, they're on top of the Clarity Act. I do believe that there is a significant institutional grade acceptance of these ETFs because of the clarity with which the SEC is handling everything. ETFs are now unquestionably a major factor in several of these. Let's return to the Rex Osprey ETF's original concept. Since Rex Shares did quote the update with Canary Funds and stated that it was not the first, we have Eleanor Tourette over here. With less than ideal tax status and some spot XRP exposure, the Rex Shares XRP RETF was the first to be introduced under the investment company 40 Act. However, Canary Funds plans to introduce the first pure play 33 Act XRP ETF that contains only XRP. And since this is officially tomorrow, this is to be expected. This will therefore be a significant event. The ETF is a huge event for XRP because we want to see how this performs, but I'm keeping an eye on it and waiting for confirmation. It's shocking to see this happening now, even though many people have been addressing and discussing it. For example, consider how absurd it is that this week we'll see the launch of an XRP ETF. The scenery in the area is very different. One of the better blogs I've seen recently, in my opinion, was from Naker Al-Shi, who stated that the SEC was appealing a court ruling that XRP did not fit the legal definition of a security on Thursday, just over a year ago. It appears that the first 33 Act spot XRP ETF will start. The crypto regulation shift over the previous year has been difficult to explain. Nevertheless, it is day and night. The events over the past 12 months alone are astounding. It's amazing. Well, and I firmly believe that this is yet another indication that significant progress will be made in the field, effectively eliminating all barriers to these assets becoming the enormous success they are destined to be. And XRP is unquestionably at the forefront. Speaking of the ETF, I did come across another post. In fact, RizXRP is the source of this. This is from the YouTube channel of Paul Barron. Stephen McClurg is involved with this. I want to bring this up because, once more, this is Canary Capital's CEO talking about the XRP ETF. Pay close attention to what he has to say since it is crucial to understand what he is saying. In addition, I want to review a few figures that relate to what he's saying here. Check it out then, when you observe the flow that Solana has shown us. Bitwise, the B-Soul, did a fantastic job putting that one out there, and numbers that are really insane. Among the top-performing ETFs we've seen thus far, particularly for digital assets. In your opinion, how will these XRP ETFs fare in comparison to that? In terms of volume and total AUM, I do believe that XRP will likely double what Solana accomplished in its first week and even today. Well, the market capitalizations of the two tokens show that XRP is around 50% more valuable than Solana. However, the difference is that as we saw with HBAR last week or 2 weeks ago, the HBAR ETF saw inflows of 70 million in only the first 3 days. And the reason for this is that it is highly recognized in institutional circles. Business investors, it has the correct amount of interest while not being a large retail product and having a low volume. And XRP is like that. Most likely Solana is a bit more of a retail token. XRP is more of an enterprise, institutional, and financial services token. And because of the institutional audience, there will likely be 100% or perhaps 20% greater inflows when you invest that in an ETF, even though there is only 50% more market capital. I hope this video was enjoyable to all of you. Because there is more free content available, channelification is active if you guys like and subscribe. If you would like more, please join the free Discord channel in the description below and follow me on Twitter. Having stated that, folks, keep on watching. Goodbye.